Hello and welcome to another Legends of Runeterra podcast. Even though this game might seem a little bit different, it's still Legends of Runeterra, but it's a very special project, and it's Legends of Runeterra in a Yu-Gi-Oh client. It's really cool. I'm Colin's son, and today I'm joined by two guests once more. This time, first guest is the creator, I should say, of this mod of all of these cards, and she's also well known as a main court mod and a former guest of this podcast for like one review. It's Yazi. Welcome.
Hi, what's up?
Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
So I play Legends of Runeterra. I mod for the main Discord, and one day I want to create this project. It started off as a joke, what if we had Draven in Yu-Gi-Oh? And then I slowly started making more and more cards, and then created like one archetype, two archetypes, and then eventually I wanted it to be an actual thing. So I made more cards, I made a private server, I kind of fixed everything, and it's in alpha testing right now.
Nice. And our second guest is very famous and probably the best Talia Malphite player in the world. It's GrandpaRoji. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
So I'm GrandpaRoji. I play LOR competitively, and I stream Legends of Runeterra as well. But if you know me, it's probably from Talia Malphite, like you just said. That's my favorite deck in the game, and I love playing Yu-Gi-Oh as well.
Yeah, and you will find a link to the Roji stream later on in the description, so definitely give it a look. It's worth watching. So, Roji, what is your experience with Yu-Gi-Oh?
So I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh a lot whenever I was younger. I was really good at Yu-Gi-Oh, and whenever I was like 12 or 13 years old, I went to a world qualifier championship tournament, and I had to travel across the country with a bunch of friends, and it was a really cool experience. And that was pretty much my extent of playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I was pretty competitive in it. But I didn't really go further than that after that. I quit playing Yu-Gi-Oh for a while and eventually got into LOR.
So my story with Yu-Gi-Oh is that I played as a child when I was like 7, 8, 9. I had like a really cool Lights One deck and also took it to like a world qualifier just as a spectator and played it. And then I never touched Yu-Gi-Oh again until Yazi wrote me in Discord and was like, hey, let's play with your Lights One deck. And then he brought a really weak Monarch deck, but still destroyed me. Like 2-1 was our match.
That was close.
And yeah, it was like, then I started getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh a little bit more. I downloaded Master Duel, built a Blue Eyes deck, and learned all of these pendulum mechanics and stuff like that. And yeah, I also know the basic rules again, but I wouldn't say I'm very competitive. Yazi, you play Yu-Gi-Oh competitively, right?
Yeah, I go to locals from time to time. So yeah, I guess I'm still keeping in touch with the game, even when I don't play it much.
Nice. So, so you already started talking about the project itself, how the idea came by. I think it was like one of my comments. I was said like we should make Draven as an XYZ summon. And we will explain the basic rules of the game a little bit later when we go to the actual game. For now, let's talk a little bit more about the idea. How did you choose which archetypes to build, and like how did you flesh it out a little bit more?
So we started with Draven, right?
Yeah.
And obviously I had to make the discard archetype. So I made some PNZ cards, some Noxus cards. And a lot of times I had to redesign the cards. So for example, in Yu-Gi-Oh, we don't have aggro decks, right? So the archetype here in this project is discard goes wide, and they have a lot of attack buffs, right? So it's the buff deck.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the redesigns kind of reflect that. So you want to buff up your champions and cards in general.
And
So
I want to really point this out. It's not just like custom cards. It's a fully functioning archetype, a fully functioning game with like even not just like ported over cards, with redesigned cards as well that like work in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And like really have sometimes even better effects. Like Words of Healer, for example, actually works in this game. I find this really awesome.
yeah. Yeah, I also focus on a lot of like the underplayed cards and like to make them viable. So for example, like Scribe of Sorrows, Helia, and stuff like that. They're actually like good. But yeah, it's still like young, so most cards will be playable. Yeah.
Okay, and you did a big tournament like last Saturday. How did it go?
Yeah, so I was testing the game with a few people, but it's really hard to like know what's the best and to know if everything's functioning well and stuff. So I want to like host a tournament just to get like more people involved, kind of get their opinions on the game, see what kind of ideas they come up with. And also like we found like one bug. It was like a very minor bug, but like it's something nonetheless. So like the more people that play it, the better for me, because then I get like more of an idea of like what's fun, what's not, what's good, what's not, and like if there are any bugs and things that need to be changed. So I thought tournaments like engaging, getting the community to play the game. So I went with it.
Nice. And how many people participated and who won? Who did well?
So we had like 5 people. We had more, but they couldn't make it, unfortunately.
I was one of them.
But we had 5 people. That's fine. So we had like a small like round robin tournament, and Smooth Soloist won the tournament at the end. He was playing Yetis, which I suspected are like the best, but yeah.
In Roji, you also participated. How was your first impression of the game and of the format?
I thought it was really interesting. I was like going through a lot of the effects, and I was realizing how much mana really restricts gameplay in LOR and like slows down the game. And I was reading through a bunch of them, and I saw discard aggro was in the game, and all the cards on it were extremely explosive, and they seemed really good. So I went with that, and I had a really good time playing it, and I had some really good games that I popped off on. And I had an absolute blast playing.
Nice. And yeah, it's kind of what I'm missing. Like in MTG, they have the format where every card costs 0 sometimes. And we had Bird, like Ultra Rapid Draw in LOR, which was really cool. And you could have the cards at half the cost, even at 0 mana sometimes. And I think it would be a totally different game if like everything just costed 0, like it does in Yu-Gi-Oh! And yeah, really cool project, and nice that it's already playable, that you already do tournaments, and definitely we also will link a Discord link in the description as well, so that everybody can join and you can try it out yourself and participate. It will be like an explanation, but let's get into the actual cards for a little bit and talk about like, exactly how this works.
We can get into the archetypes like real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Because I didn't mention them. So we have discard, we have Yetis, we have Vanguards, we have Yordles, we have Lee Sin, and we have like some sort of like Helia deck, like self-slay deck. So these 6 archetypes,
Nice.
each with a different like game plan, and like each from a different region from LOR. So right now like we're missing 3 regions because this card is taking up 2 regions. We have 6 archetypes. So Shurima, Bilge, and Targon are still not in the game. But yeah, something else is we don't have regions in this game, so like you can play any match of cards together. So that's also to keep in mind.
When did you start working on this? Like how many months ago?
So like it took me like around 1 month, give or take, maybe a week more, to like from start to finish, making 6 decks and creating a game server.
That's like so insane. Like the whole LOR
Yeah, it's like
team
3.
is like deciding like 4 archetypes in like 3 months. You just like casually make 6 archetypes and a whole different. It's really,
Yeah,
really
I had to
awesome.
like make 3 cards a day, like around 3 cards a day probably, like design and coding.
Yeah, and you also code them
But yeah,
yourself.
it's,
Like I don't know how much back-end work this really is. Like, but it always sounds like complicated.
yeah. And like each deck has different like mechanics. I had to like like learn mechanics. Like how do I code rituals? How do I code like equip monsters? How do I code pendulums? But yeah, I mean, it was fun. Like I wouldn't do this if it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Maybe to add, this is like not an, I don't know if it's like not, it's like not the main Yu-Gi-Oh game. Like there's like Master Duel where you can play online with other players. It's like a, how do you call that? Like the this program.
It's just a Yu-Gi-Oh simulator.
Simulator.
Like it has all the cards. It has like its own game servers that you can play with other people. But so I made my own cards. I coded them in the same way the official cards are, and I made the game server so you can use these cards using the game server. Yeah. And it's for free. You just download the actual client and then you download the add-on and you're good to go.
Yeah, even better economy than LOR. It's like
Yeah.
Okay, anything else you want to add before we look at some cards?
No. Go right ahead.
Okay. So I guess we should, maybe for somebody who never played Yu-Gi-Oh, mention like the basic mechanics. So you have like 5 monster zones. You can normal summon 1 monster per turn. You can only get 1 guy out per turn. There's no mana. There's no other restrictments other than you can just play 1 of these brownish guys per turn. Normally, some cards summon themselves. For example, the Flame Chompers. That gives this card, it special summons itself, so you can circumvent this, and most Yu-Gi-Oh decks do. And then they have like attack and defense. Just a little bit differently. You like don't get to block or something. You just attack a monster directly, and if it has like higher attack, then you kill it. But if it's in defense mode, you can switch it around. It's counting the defense, and you have to kill all the monsters before you can hit your opponent directly. Then there's also spell cards,
Yep.
where you can. It's basically like everything is like fast speed, I would say, because you can react to everything. And then they have like effects and trap cards that you have to like set down for a turn, this back row thingy, and then flip them over to get your effect after it comes back to your turn. So, Yazi, anything you want to add?
Yep. So for LOR players, all monsters have quick attack challenger, and there's no health. So the 2 stats, attack defense, you just count whichever position the monster's in. So attack position monsters, you take their attack. Defense position monsters, you take their defense. It's as simple as how combat works. Each monster can attack only once, and then if your opponent has no monsters, you can attack them directly for full damage. Yeah.
And I guess you should also technically mention there's like not, you don't play it at the same time like in LOR. You just have one player as the turn, and then it goes over to the other player. You can activate like trap cards in response to stuff. Like in your opponent's turn, you can interact with them a little bit, but you can't like summon a monster in their turn or something. It's like a little bit older and more has its phases and stuff. It's like more in a certain fashion. You don't like interact with each other or summon monsters, and your opponent summons monsters. Like if you never played another card game, it's like more round based than LOR. Yeah. So I guess all of these cards have a lot of text. For example, this one, it's it's quick spell to explain. It's like a spell card, so you can play it out. You can also play it out in your opponent's turn, despite being a spell card. Where it's like this lightning here. It says discard 1 card and target 1 face-up monster you control. It gains 600 attack until the end of this turn. So you like put this down in the back row, then you buff up 1 guy, and then it goes to the graveyard. Graveyard is where like destroyed or discarded cards go, and you can even look at them and do stuff with them, etc. Then you have Draven. You can only control 1 Draven. Cannot be set. Doesn't matter. When this card is summoned, or if this card battles after damage calculation, so basically on strike, add 1 Spinning Axe from your deck or graveyard to your hand, so you can play this card, and you can get it back with Draven attacking. If you draw another Draven, that's like a hand effect. Like you can shuffle this card from your hand into your deck, and if you do, add up to 2 Spinning Axes from the deck or graveyard to your hand. And I love how you do like the champion mechanics. You have the only 1 Draven, and you have when the second Draven in hand, you have like a hand effect that you can actually use. the Draven 4 instead of
Yeah,
just being bricked.
it's just a little thing to like kind of like a throwback to LOR and how they do it.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't think we should go over every single card. Like, it's way too much text. We can like
Yeah, for
explain
sure.
how it goes. There's like a bunch of different synchro mechanics and fusion mechanics. Like, this is a synchro monster, that none of it matters. And like, you build your decks yourself, right? Like, Roji has like 42 cards in the deck. Was that on purpose,
Yeah.
Roji?
Yeah. So when I played Yu-Gi-Oh, I loved having 42 cards in my deck because there's always two cards that I've always like I want in the deck, but I can't like make proper room for it. So that's what I struggle with in Runeterra sometimes because I can't go to 42.
Nice. Another thing we should mention is that like cards from the actual game, for example, this one, target one monster in the graveyard and summon it. That's in the actual game, but there's like a ban list, so you can only have very limited amount of cards from the actual game. And it's like all balanced as well.
Yeah, so the majority of the cards are like custom cards from LOR, but we have like a handful of actual Yu-Gi-Oh staples, just like smoothing out deck building, good generic effects.
This is a good example for a trap card. You can play it out on your turn, and when your opponent declares an attack, when your opponent attacks you, you can flip this over and then destroy the attacking monster. And yeah, it's like, I guess we don't even have this
Card
effect.
is really good.
It's really weird that we don't have an effect like
True.
this. Basically a vengeance for an attacking monster. Okay, and this first game we are watching is a player, which is GrandpaRoji versus Big Goon, which is Tams, another TKG member. And yeah, I don't think Tams has ever guest on this podcast yet. Like, we have to change it at some point. Anyways, what was the tournament situation, Roji? Like, was this like an important match or something?
Sorry, could you say
What
that
was the
again?
tournament situation? Was it like first game, or was it like an important match, or just like a random game?
It was just kind of like a random game.
Okay.
Because I didn't fully understand what I was doing at all times because I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh in a while, so I had to like brush up on my Yu-Gi-Oh rules and having to like acclimate to having the LOR cards in here too. It was like I don't know. I was just trying to figure out how to play the game properly for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I always
But
feel
Yeah.
like that. I'm always confused about when I'm playing, when I'm reading the cards. I'm still confused what happens and stuff.
Yeah, this was the first game of the tournament, I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure though, but I think it was the first match. I'm not sure if it was the first game. But yeah, like Roji was like reading the cards because I was watching on stream, and he was figuring shit out, but like he just popped off anyway. Doesn't matter, dude. The Roji just popped off.
not my fault. The deck is broken.
So yeah, I guess you just go into the thing a little bit and just watch the game. I haven't seen it yet. I'm very excited. So it's Roji's turn. Like this side is Roji's and this side is Tams's. And I guess I have to click on step here. So we summoned the Raven, looked at them, and then the effect goes off where he searches out a spinning X from the deck here. And then it shuffles. Okay, so click out, and that's the turn. Then it goes to Tanz's turn. And you draw a card, and Tams summons a Draven as well. So you could have set down this X, right, and played it in your opponent's turn, right?
That's why we don't talk about that. This
I
card
was just
longer.
like legitimately asking. But
It's a burst spell. I can play it from my hand, right?
almost. Okay, and the Draven does the same, searches out the X, and then
You can click on play, right? You can play and then
it's like so
pause.
fast.
Yeah.
Well,
Pause,
a
pause.
little bit slower. So Draven is now 2300 because of the X, and we have the effect of the Flame Chompers, who like comes back from the graveyard when it gets discarded, like in the actual game. It's like a pretty small one, 400, 800. Yeah. And then
So TLDR of Flame Chompers. Basically, when Flame Chompers attacks, it puts the enemy's monster in defense, and it debuffs the defense of that monster. So it was kind of like meant to be a buff target to get over like really big units. Because in Yu-Gi-Oh you can't go wide. You have to go through your opponent's board. So that's how this card deals with like big units. I mean here,
he will just
Big Goon can just attack with Draven.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can just attack with Draven over the other Draven and then swing face.
because he is 2,300 and this one's 1,700.
Yeah, so he can just swing with Draven first and then Chomper's face. But yeah, he just used the effect because why
So
not?
basically switches it over to defense position and then halves like the attack or something, defense, yeah.
It debuffs it by 400 because Chomper does 400.
And then Draven attack.
Because Draven battled, he gets to add a
Oh,
axe.
each battle, that's kind of
and
great.
Yep, and then if Roji had the third axe, he would be able to add it here.
And then he gets
But,
destroyed.
yeah,
because
Roji's
he
rank 2
calculated-
axes.
Oh, only running 2 axes. Good.
Yeah, I thought it would like clog up my hand if I drew it naturally.
Okay, so kinda on the back side, put the spinning X down and search our deck for a level 4 warrior monster.
Yeah, so the majority of the cards here are warriors. So like Draven, Crowd's favorite, Battlecaster, like they're all warriors.
Yeah.
So you can literally search anything you want.
And the Draven comes down, Flame Chompers, kind of the same.
Yep, Axe Chompers, just like LOR. You go wide.
And I have a deja vu here.
Literal mirror match.
I was trying to preserve the health of my Draven, okay?
Yeah, that's the actual help. So it was Roji's making a joke here just for the ones who don't play Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, yeah, then no Draven in Tamsin's hands. You might see a new card here being played. Okay, Boombaboon. When this card is normal summoned, you can get a Chompers from your deck or graveyard, and it gets buffed up for each of your Chompers on the board. Cool effect. I really like. Can you imagine like Boombaboon, the actual card game is like a 2/1, it gets plus 1/+0 for each Flame Chompers you have. Oh my God.
Wait, it gains attack?
Yeah, so it reinforces the idea of buffing your board. And it's so basically as long as you have Boom Baboon and Chompers on the board, you can double a buff, right? So if you buff Chompers, Baboon gets the buff as well.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. So in one of Roji's games, he actually tried to get over Baboon instead of killing the Chompers around it. Which was kind of like, I thought it was like a misplay, but I guess now I'm realizing Roji did not know of that effect. But yeah. Because the opponent had like 2800 attack Baboon, and you were like throwing everything at it.
I couldn't
Instead
figure
of
out how to
killing the
get. I was like,
Chompers.
why is this baboon so big?
That's fine. No one reads cards. We're card game players.
just
We don't
play
read cards. Just play them. Play the
It
highlighted
said I could
cards.
play it, so you know.
Yeah.
So we basically set down
Again, small redesign, but yeah.
a card here. Look at it later. Then we play a rummage because it's a lot of text. So basically,
TLDR is just rummage from LOR, but it has a second effect. If you discard a card while rummage is in the graveyard, you get to draw one card.
That effect is broken.
That is really good. And Roji did not figure it out until like the last game. You kept wondering like, why can I not use my rummage? You just had to discard one thing while it's in the
Yeah.
graveyard.
okay. So we discard
yeah, you
two,
discard
and then
two.
you get 2 more cards, and then Chompers gets on the field again.
Mhm.
X discards another one,
Axe the Jury
which
Rig.
is also like summoning a Scarf Scuttler and discarded, right?
By the way, I think we're watching the wrong perspective. This is Tam's perspective. If you want to swap it real quick.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure Roji had the 3 Spirit Leeches in the extra deck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Spirit Leech is just there because of Monster Reborn versus a fading icon. That's it.
Okay.
It's the only reason it's
It's
there.
very confusing and like a single monster, so it's not explained that
Yeah,
it's
it doesn't
necessary, I would say. That comes up.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
but yeah, this is Roji's turn where he just like
Yeah. So basically, you can just summon one guy, but Roji had like all of these jumpers and guys that summon themselves in a discard, so we managed to get out like 4 guys in the same turn. And that
Yeah,
was,
card saver is just comes down for free if you have more monsters than your opponent, and he gets buffed for each unit you have. So the wider the board, the bigger he is.
nice. Yeah, pretty cool combo.
So here is, yeah, he's 3100 I think here. He gains 500 for each other.
Broken.
Yep.
So how did you feel like coming off Roji?
I felt amazing. I was like, wow, I have infinite mana. I can chompers, jury rig, crowd favorite, all in the same turn.
Yep.
I was like, this is insane.
Definitely sounds like a lot of fun. Back then when I played, Yazis were still OP, and I couldn't do anything with discard because it sucked. I played it got buffed. Okay, then we go to combat, and you do the jumpers thing again, where you swap it around. And you could technically just, yeah, we talked about it. Never mind.
I don't know how they worked.
Oh, it has overwhelm, so like piercing damage. Basically, what happened is normally you don't do damage to defense, to your opponent's nexus or health total defense position, but this guy does. It's basically like overwhelm 2 times.
Wait. Am I misremembering? Or...
Wait. You might lose now.
Well,
Huh?
But did like Roji lose life?
I think the names got mixed
Like,
up.
was it either?
But I was definitely the one that had the leeches in my deck.
Okay, maybe the names got mixed
Yeah.
up. Doesn't matter. Moving on, we got the combat, and we hit for a bunch of damage. You have like 0 life total, of course, you lose. And let's see if Tams can make a recovery. Get a Sun Dredger, normal summon discard, draw 1, each time you discard this card permanently gains 300 attack and defense. Kinda cool.
yeah, so more discard synergy.
Oh, that's good too.
Yeah, some Dredger. Again, thematic. Whenever you discard something, you get rid of it, he gets stronger.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I try to focus on thematics a lot.
I remember back the day when Sun Dredger was a 4/4 for 3, I did just discard, don't get to draw. Was it bad?
He was a 2-mana.
2-mana.
He was a 2-mana 4/3, right?
No, 2-mana 4. I think it was a 4/4. No,
I think it was 4/3.
doesn't matter. But yeah,
Yeah.
like Tams tries to make a comeback here. Like, if you summon one
So by default,
default,
yeah. By default, you just summon him. He discards, so he's 1800 as a base stat line.
Yeah. And basically, with how Yugioh works, if you have like one giant guy and they can't like attack around him, you have to attack through them. So if Tams would have managed to play like a 40,000 attack guy, and it would hold off all of these creatures. I guess not as champ jumpers, but yeah.
Yep.
And then yeah, more discard stuff happens.
Again, because you used discard. Yeah, because you used Axe, he gets 300 more.
And
attack.
it's already game jumpers, so 2300. And it's like fair Yu-Gi-Oh! Like if you watch the normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Just like. Und
Okay, so here Roji decides to tribute summon. So because Experimenter has a lot of levels, he's level 6, you need to kind of get rid of one monster to summon him. But when you do, you just like, it's just the LOR effect. You discard, destroy something, you draw. I guess in LOR...
It also
you
does
don't
face
destroy.
damage.
Yeah, it also does face damage for some reason. This card's broken. What the fuck?
For some reason. Deal 800 to your opponent, draw
so
3,
it just like destroys
And
something.
kill something.
and kill a unit.
Seems fair.
Yeah. But this is what a tempo play looks like in LOR, basically.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Because you're given so much extra time. Yeah, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because you're given so much extra time and you have a big board, then you're able to make this play. But if you're on the back foot, you'll never be able to do this.
Oh, that's so cool. But wait, 1200 damage, that's like a lot.
Yeah, so this is a lot of burn for Yu-Gi-Oh! But it is a discard one. So, and then you get the option to like kill something.
Yeah. Like very specific number, less than 2500.
Yeah. If there's a bigger unit, he just chompers it first. Reduces defense.
So Tams gets burned, and then you have like a random card. It's like an actual game, it destroys like a spell trap. It doesn't matter, nobody cares about that.
Didn't I discard jury rig? Where's my jury rig?
Yeah, where's your jury rig? I think you right-clicked by mistake. Or maybe...
Like this timing or something.
No. It's not an optional effect. That is really weird, by the way.
Rip. Did you find another bug?
Yeah, I'm trying to think why. I think because you can't tribute the tokens. It has something with tribute summoning. Because you tribute summon this turn, so you couldn't summon the rig. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe needs more
That's-
testing. We've reached the point where all of like the major bugs have been fixed. So like if there's a bug, it would be something very specific. So you'd need like a lot of people to play to kind of find these
Yeah.
bugs.
But basically,
I don't think it mattered this game.
Roji popped off and then had like infinite units and then never attack for game and just kill him, kill Tams. So
Yep.
GG, nice match. How did you do in the tournament, Roji?
I think I got second in the tournament, right?
Nice,
Yeah.
congrats. It's big achievement.
You won 2, lost 1, I think, or 1. I forgot.
Won 3,
You won
lost
3, lost
1.
What's the-
Yeah, that game you lost was just a tilter. That's unfortunate.
I misplayed in that game like 4 different times, and I don't think it was winnable anyways. My opponent just popped off on me. Had like infinite crocs.
Yeah, Croc is a big guy. Speaking of Croc,
Let's look at the next replay. Let's see
Con, do you want to show? Yeah, you want to show them the Croc?
which one. It doesn't matter, right?
46.
So this one's longer. Yeah, okay.
Sure. Whichever one. It's fine.
Okay.
I think this one.
We have a lot of cards in hand. So this one is between two different. Who's G able, by the way?
He's a guy from main court. He likes to play in tournaments. It's not the first tournament he joined from me. He joins LOR tournaments too.
And Smooth is like pretty well known in the community, also a streamer and like one of the founders for TKG, I think, right?
Yep.
Nice.
One of the EU players.
Yeah, and that's just like you have two different.
So you can
decks.
click on the deck. If you click on Jabel's deck, no, the other one. Yeah, so here you can see the cards. So I just want to point out that like the main win condition here is Croc, which is like usually level 4 monsters, you can just play them for free. And 2700 is such a big stat line. But this card has a restriction on it, which and it says it cannot be normal summoned. So you have to either special summon it somehow with another effect, aka Helia, or with his own effect, which is sacrificing 2 monsters on the field.
When we sacrifice and destroying them.
anyway.
Like, it's a,
You're destroying them, yeah. So you get like the destruction effects. Yeah, I'm just pointing out that this is like the main win condition of this deck.
destroying is like killing, whereas sacrificing is like weird. When we sacrificing, you like basically it doesn't count as a kill if you sacrifice it.
Yeah, tributes just go to the graveyard. Destroy gets destroyed and then sent to the
Look
graveyard.
at Helia too.
Just
Yeah,
Yugioh
it's
things.
just work.
Yeah, this is Helia. So Helia is a field spell. You just play it and it stays on the board. It's just like a landmark in a sense.
That doesn't take up your ones.
Except less polarizing. Because you can actually destroy it with like spell removal. Just like, yeah, Mystical Space Typhon. But basically, TLDR just like LOR effect. So you just kill the highest level monster, summon a new one from the deck with 1 level higher. Except Thresh. So if you have Thresh on board, Helia just ignores Thresh. It kills everything else. I don't think he's running Thresh in this deck though. Which I agree with. Thresh is kind of too slow. Poor guy. But yeah. So yeah, if you have Helia in the level 3, you end your turn, it summons Croc from deck during the end phase.
Broken.
Mhm. That's like the main, gimmick of that deck.
And for Yetis?
Smooth is playing Yetis. So you look at Enraged Yeti, he's like the main, again, one of the main cards. It's all built around him. Again, he can't be normal summoner set. He's a level 1 with like a really big stat line. But if you draw him, you get to summon him for free. Again, playing on the kind of the feel of the deck. Because in LOR, you just like high roll, kill your opponent on 2. Not on 2, on like turn 4 or 5.
Yeah.
With like 20 Yetis on board. So you can do the same here, actually. Sometimes you just brick and can't play, and other times you just like pop off. So a lot of the cards in this deck are gonna play to put Enraged Yeti on the top of the deck, in a way. Or remove top cards from the deck and put them at the bottom, as long as they're not Yetis. So like Trapper, for example, when you play him, you check the top 5 cards. If there's an Enraged Yeti, you put him on the top of the deck, kind of prep him for next turn. And if none of them are enraged Yeti, you just put them at the bottom. So it increases your chances of finding an enraged Yeti.
Nice. Was it with the time trick?
Abominable is the same as LOR. If you have 2 Yetis, he comes down for free. Time trick, kind of similar to LOR. You just pick a card from the top 3 and draw one of them. So if it's enraged Yeti, you will get the effect because it counts as drawing. Has other restrictions on it for sure. Because it's kind of broken. But yeah, this is like the gist of both decks. Enraged Yeti. Actually, we can look at Icy Yeti because that's important in the extra deck.
You have to explain Fusion Summon. Good luck.
Yeah, so as long as you have the Fusion spell and the 2 materials written on this card, you can summon Icy Yeti. So yeah, this is the polymerization spell. As long as you have this and 2 other Yetis, one level 1 and one with 2500 or more attack, you can summon Icy Yeti. Just of this guy, when he's summoned, he makes all your opponent's attack points like monsters 0 forever, because that's balanced. So yeah, this is how Yetis get over like big threats. As you can see, like each deck has a way to get over bigger units. Yeah, because the biggest unit in the Yeti deck is 2500 attack. So you need Icy Yeti to get over it. So yeah, these are like the gist of these 2 decks.
I remember when I played with you,
Croc versus
you played
Yeti.
Yetis, and like one game you just bricked and they killed you with my Discord synergy, and then 2 games you just like summoned 5 Yetis and couldn't do anything.
Yep. Just like LOR. Perfect. That's what we're going for.
Nice. But yeah, let's watch the deck, I think. And
Yep.
we get 2 face down, special summon 1 Dauntless Vanguard, so it's just like a vanilla. This is just like a flavor text. And just
Yeah, so this is from another deck. It's just fodder for Yugioh, so that's a cool idea.
so you can equip one equip spell. It doesn't really equip spell stuff doesn't matter in this deck, right?
Yeah, he doesn't run any of them. So he's playing like an off. It's just like a splashing it, just for extra level 3s.
Summon this for free, basically.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, these are trap cards you can only use in the opponent's turn. You can't just like random summon 2 guys immediately. So what does move do? Draws polymerization and
So right now he can actually use polymerization because he has Abominable Yeti, Abominable Guardian, and the level 1. So he can actually... It is a legal activation. He could summon the Icy Yeti, but he's choosing not
doesn't
to.
make sense, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
So what does this guy do?
So Yearling again. So Yearling, you put it face down, and then when it's flipped, you put Enraged Yeti on the top of the deck. So it preps it for next turn. Again, it's like most of the deck just plays around Enraged Yeti because of how cheap he is, and he's a free summon.
This is a cheap, I know it's just a destruction effect. Okay. Yeah, cool. So it's like face down, so that means it's like not immune to your opponent, and it's for a
It's
defense
hidden.
position, so it's like 100. And also face down, which is I guess this is a cancel card.
So yeah, GA will just summons this in the end phase, prep it for next turn.
Trust.
Top deck Croc, like a good player. Fading, just like LOR, you summon a token.
You can banish it to get the ritual spell. It's kind of broken.
Yeah. Other Fiend is like the ultimate condition of this deck. So yeah, he chooses to kill 2 things.
And then he brings out the Crocolive. This is a special summon as well, so he used the normal summon for fading icon. Nice. Actually,
Okay, I want to ask Roji this. Roji, do you think Croc is broken?
He's big and really hard to deal with.
He's
kind of like Blue Eyes White Dragon right now.
like,
yeah.
cannot attack directly. I misread that. It was
So,
like,
yeah.
it can attack directly. I was like, oh my god, that's so broken.
Yeah, so the downside is it can only battle units. As long as Smooth plays no units, Croc can never go face.
As long as you just never play a unit.
It was like a Hearthstone card like that, like a 4 mana 10/10 or something. It can only attack units.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit strong. I don't think it's broken though.
It's close. Because it's so easy to tutor it out. Like, you either draw it, Yugioh.
Yeah, he got this on what, turn 2? It's like getting Blue Eyes on turn 2. Like, it's just Blue Eyes White Dragon, but
but you can't go
Yeah,
face.
like
Can't go
current
face.
Yu-Gi-Oh! You get like 5 viewers in turn 1.
Yeah.
And we attack here.
So he swings. Yearling effect goes through. As you can see, you look through the deck. Put Icy on, what's his name? Enrage on top. Yep. So now we guarantee draw and get next turn for free. Again, as you can see, Yeti's run out of fuel a lot. Like you draw, you summon, you're not getting card advantage. Like that's the downside of the deck. Smooth ops to go for the polymerization. You make Icy Yeti. Icy Yeti's effect makes Croc 0, so you can get over it. Abominable has another effect in the grave. When he's in the grave, you can shuffle him back with another Yeti to draw one card.
That's nice.
Oh, that's
a lot
cool.
to draw.
Yeah, so it's like similar to the LOR effect where he like shuffles a copy of himself
Oh
back.
my god. Okay.
Yeah, so
What's this guy doing?
Sentry's a bit like redesigned. He has the same effect where when he goes to the graveyard, he draws 1. But when you play him, you can see your opponent's top card of the deck. It's like a small utility thing.
That would be so cool if they had that in LOR.
Yeah, so Smooth knows you're going to top deck Reinforcement next turn, but you don't,
Imagine if you like
basically.
would see the boons in your opponent's deck or something, and you like play against Aribard and you see like 5 boons, just rage quit.
Yeah, saves time, faster climbing because you just concede 1 turn earlier. But yeah, like these small redesign stuff
Really
is
cool.
kind of
Yeah,
cool. And when he's attacked, he goes to defense. I mean, he's a sentry after all.
and he
Like,
dies to draw a card.
when he dies, you draw a card. Yeah, so he's kind of cool. I mean, again, he plays around the Enrage Yeti. Like, it's not direct synergy, but anything that draws cards is cool in Yeti decks because you want to be drawing them.
And then he kills it with a 0 attack.
Mhm.
Prey was
And then
nice.
Sentry kills the prey.
And Prey was a token that doesn't go to the graveyard, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, tokens just get blasted. So Monster Reborn, the classic,
Yeah.
brings something back. Croc just finds himself back on the board. Croc Turbo, basically.
And search for a warrior.
And first move the army in this deck. Sentry is the only target, I
No,
think,
in
in
the
his
Vanguard.
deck, alongside Vanguard, yeah. Which you don't really want to search because you have the trap, but yeah.
It was a sentry.
It's all about deck thinning.
Negate attack.
Sentry, check negate attack. Yep, so now he knows negate
It's
attack.
like a stun,
so-
right? It's the first word stun.
Basically, you skip the turn. Yeah, skip the battle phase.
This is like a Malphite stun. Make sure you get like 0 mana Malphite to opponent's turn.
I was literally just thinking that.
Oh my god, imagine like a Yasu.
I mean-
whenever you negate an attack, you have to negate that. Whenever you negate an attack, you could kill the guy. It's just like all
This
negate
is what
attacks.
Malphite needs. If you attack into Malphite, it's stun the attacking board.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't print Targon yet,
Oh
so
my god. Spoilers. Target. Literally mirror boss. Like whenever you attack, you just kill anybody.
so Jabel does something here that I have not thought about doing before. If you want to step forward one more. Okay,
Oh god.
so I'm just gonna explain like very TLDR. Link monsters, you just have to look at the condition to summon them, and the condition of base of burden is 1 level 4 lower monster to make him. Okay, effect is irrelevant, but basically what Jabel's doing is that he's summoning Sentry, getting rid of it to summon base of burden, so he's kind of losing 200 attack to draw 1 card immediately, right? Because he forcefully sends Sentry to the graveyard, right? So he's kind of abusing core mechanics to get his effects off, which is something you do very often in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like this is why Link summoning is really strong. Yeah, so he has no Yordles in his deck. There's no synergy whatsoever, but he's using this. Yeah, so if you do like the next step, he should activate Sentry effect
Then to draw the card.
to draw 1. Yep, so he sacrifices 200 attack for the immediate draw, which is cool.
And then we have the trap card, or like the quick spell card. You negate one monster's effect, but you give it 400 attack. So basically, negate is like a mini silence, it's like a hush. Where a guy has like a big effect, or like a, I guess it doesn't work with graveyard effects, but like, it hushes a guy, but also gives it plus 400 attack, which is counterintuitive. But you mostly play this card for the hush effect, not for its attack buff, but sometimes, like in this situation, it gets attacked and you use a combat trick. So yeah, 2900, and then the guy dies. So if you attack on the bigger one, you die.
you're kind of sacrificing your own unit. Yeah, so it's a combat trick.
Wait, is like smooth winning.
Smooth is kind of like hard winning now. So Smooth has his own Monster Reborn, which can revive enemy units too.
Get his Crocolith.
Yeah, he chose not to get it, which is smart because, like, I mean, I guess he could get it and like attack Base of Burden first with the Croc. So maybe he should have done that. So we see Helia, the infamous combo of Helia plus a 3-drop.
Oops.
Yeah. So he activates Helia, summon Vanguard, and
And how
phase.
do you activate Helia and summon Vanguard? Or you just summon?
So you normal summon. Yeah, you just normal summon and phase, and then Helia just procs, you summon Croc. Here you usually want to summon Croc in defense to play around second Icy Yeti, because Icy Yeti only freezes the attack position monsters. Yeah. Right. It freezes the attacks. Doesn't freeze the attack position monsters, it freezes the attack only.
Like if he revives the Crocolith, attacks into the Crocolith, and both die.
We have bottomless trap hole on the other side.
That is true. There is a bottomless.
I mean, you can't activate this yet.
Oh, he just got that, so he's.
Yeah, so he's setting up for next turn. I don't know. Yeah, Smith could have won, but bottomless.
Basically, this guy, when you summon a guy, you just exile it, or like obliterate it. So it's like, it's like 5 different names.
Yeah, you just destroy it.
Banish it.
Obliterate, basically, from LOR.
And yeah, I have a time trick.
Time trick. So time trick in this deck just to find Yugioh. Yeah.
Is it not just like a better goblin to draw a card?
So we didn't explain time trick before, but let me just go over it real quick. You have to use it as the first card in your main phase. If you play anything before it, you can't use it anymore. So it has to be the first thing you play. And number 2, you can't add any more cards for the rest of the turn from your deck to your hand. So once you use time trick, that's the only draw you're getting this turn.
And this is so limiting because, like, in Yugioh, you don't have any mana, so if you could just, like, draw and draw and draw, you would be able to play anything without limitation. So any draw effect.
Basically, that's the downside of the card. So this card would be bad in discard, right? Because then you can't rummage, you can't Sump Dredger, you can't Draven Axe, because you can't add any cards from deck to the hand. But in this deck, it's good because you just get Helia, you set up for next turn, that type of thing.
Yeah. And basically, the draw 2 effect is like super broken Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it's one of the best cards in the game if it would be allowed. Put up read. Yep. Anyways, we get the excavate and find some card here.
Find other fiend.
Yeah. This is like the ritual card. So basically, for this guy, you need like another spell to bring him out. Play this guy, and then you put this in the graveyard first.
Yeah.
So you play this guy, then you can send cards with an equal star level from your graveyard, board, or something to be exiled to a literation zone. And then you...
Yeah, basically you banish monsters from the graveyard whose total levels equal 7 to summon other fiend. So if you check the graveyard, we have 1 Croc, and what else do we have? So you can only do it for on-fiend type monsters.
It makes... Oh, it's face up on the board, right?
Yeah, so you have Croc, you have nothing else. Okay, so in order to summon Otherfiend right now, you'd have to sack your own Croc that is on the board.
Oh, because you can go higher, right?
Yeah, you can go 7 or higher. So right now, if he chooses to do it, I'm not sure. I forgot how the game goes.
Okay, and then you can, because you use 2, you could destroy 2 cards of your opponent, right?
Yeah, so Otherfiend's effect from LOR sucks, so we made it better here. You just destroy as many monsters as the materials used, so you're incentivized to use more materials.
Just attacks and runs.
Your Croc.
Okay. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Jable just open attacks, I guess. Yeah, I guess there's no open attacking here. But he chooses this attack, runs into the trap card, which is fine.
Etherfield is kind of... Oh, you can play it after the graveyard as well. Oops.
You can play it anyway. Yeah, you can play Otherfiend anyway, because it's sacrificed from the graveyard as well.
So sad, like in LOR, Etherfield is the only card that you can't not use, basically. You have to kill something if you want, if you have like to play it. Every other card you can just like skip.
Ooh, trivia.
So sad. But yeah, this guy destroys attacking monster, so it gets destroyed. Combat phase is over. Can like technically there's rally in this game that like it's super rare. Like 2 cards. and then he goes for the
Ooh, that is
second
big.
death. Then you have the deny. You have to pay half your life points for that. So this move goes down to 4,000, but basically it denies anything, like literally anything.
Yeah. So this denies spells or traps or summons.
I guess not card effects, not everything, but like most.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, there's not a single card that does anything. But yeah, majority of things. Any spell or trap activation and any summon. So here it's a spell card. You'd negate this summon.
Basically, it's like a chain. Same as chains work.
Yeah, it's just like a stack.
It's
Then
card
this is
denied.
okay. Yep, resolves with no effect and surrender because you just die on open.
No, a really cool game, cool games, and you see how dynamic it was. It was back and forth, and yeah, I like how the trap cards work and how you can realize some of these cards that never were good make it actually good.
Yeah, I think every single card here does one thing that LOR version does. Pretty sure. I don't think there's a single card that I've redesigned 100%. I could be wrong though. I don't remember. I guess field promotion, but like, who cares?
Yeah, you capture the flavor of pretty much everything really well. It's really well designed and
So you can go into the card.
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah, Con, do you want to go to the deck editor? Because we went over 3 decks. Yeah, just click search on the, Runeterra and then search, yeah. So these are all the cards. Okay, quick scroll through.
115 cards.
115, well, that's like 90 of them are custom cards. 25 are like Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
We have
Yeah.
like Yordles in here, which have like a funny mechanic. And we have elites, we have Lee Sin.
Yep. You have,
Attack directly, OP.
yep, me when elusive. But yeah, this card is actually really
Yeah.
good here. Again, any LOR card that sucks is actually good here.
Scroll and change it.
Yeah, if you click once, you should be able to scroll. Fine.
Interesting. So is there any one more card you want to really showcase? Find really cool.
One card that I want to showcase. Huh. Trying to think. I mean, Lee Sin's kind of broken. Like he's an essay
When
and
you
a
think,
half.
Roji, what would you say is like your favorite card so far in this game mode?
I really liked Augmented Experimenter. That card's kind of broken.
Give it again. Yes, search for it.
It's by levels. Yeah, it's the first card, I think.
Yeah,
Go
that
up.
was the first card.
by
It's
level.
like 6th level. Here.
Level 6. It's the beginning. Yeah, there it
Put
goes.
summon guy, and you destroy 1, draw 3, and even burn opponent. Yeah, this work.
It kind of reminds me of like Stonebreaker, but I'm drawing cards. It's insane.
Stonebreaker.
Wait, that is actually true. That's literally Stonebreaker. What the hell?
You have to make Malphite next. Like Stonebreaker, you just destroy your own field spells over and over. The summon field spells over and over.
Yeah, landmarks are gonna be cool for sure. I was thinking of making thralls like way back, like when I was like I just printed this card, and I was thinking of the second archetype, right? And I was thinking of a Freljordian archetype, and I was gonna make thralls. But thralls was meta, like when we got the new cards, Sands of Time and the other guy, the 2-drop.
Yeah, the Harbinger.
So yeah, I didn't want to. Imagine printing a Zeralia and like a Zeralia peak. That would be just like.
Toxic. Yeah, but you should definitely do like
Yeah.
Malphite Yasuo. I think many people would like that. Like a viable Yasuo. Just like negator attacks and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of mechanics have to be redesigned for sure. Like stuns don't work in this game.
Just negate attacks.
Right, we don't have stuns. Negate attacks. I mean,
Maybe it's just garbage.
maybe. But I mean, you can't use it offensively then. A lot of things have to be redesigned for sure.
You can use this offensively. Turn to hand and it destroys it instead.
Yeah, that's the true Will of Ionia. It's limited.
Target 1 phase into control. See, I already have like recall cards. Like, easy. I guess we have Ionia already. But
Yeah, but those are for the Yordles.
wait, okay. Yeah, I didn't read all the cards, so it's like a whole. Yeah, I have to spend some time reading all the cards. Anyways, yeah. What are your future plans on the thingy on the project?
So I took a break for a bit. I might get back into it soonish. Again, 3 more archetypes to be made: 1 Bilge, 1 Targon, and 1 Shurima. And then maybe we host another tournament. I'm not sure. But you're gonna have the link in the description. I'll probably just post the Discord on Twitter, just publicly.
Roji, what Bilgewater and Shurima archetype would you find interesting? Like Shurima should be obvious, like landmarks, right?
Obviously landmarks. If we can get that going in here, that would be amazing. But other Shurima archetypes like that are pretty cool is like the Slay or
Sandisk.
like Sundisk. That falls under landmarks. I don't know. I like Azir, like the swarming kind of gameplay, or like Renekton with the overwhelming gameplay. I like Xerath with the controlling gameplay that he offers. So like I don't know, having different types of maybe like archetypes from Shurima or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shurima's just like a really cool region to me. I think all the cards in it are super cool.
And for Bilgewater?
I love the randomness from Bilgewater, so like give a good make it rain.
Oh my god, like you roll a die and then you destroy equal to or something.
You guys don't know. You guys don't know. Like you guys can't see like my notepad right now. I had like so many designs for so many cards. Like one of the Yordle cards was gonna be Hothead. And I was gonna make it like a roll a die, like 1 he gets like, you know, piercing, 2 he gets like overwhelm damage, like 3, you know, it was gonna be some like wacky shit. But I don't know, it didn't really fit, like, cause again, I need to redesign not just cards, but like how they feel and how they play out. Like what makes landmarks special, you know?
I think the countdown part of it.
The countdown. Yeah, okay. So basically in this game I'd have to like put counters on the continuous spells or traps and then make them count down, which was something I was gonna do with Thralls. Which is cool. Like usually in Yu-Gi-Oh you have like counters and you wanna put counters on your cards, but here it'd be like reverse counters.
Like a weird archetype with like ice thingies that you want to remove ice counters.
I mean, you could like add counters to it. Once it gets to a certain count, then you can like destroy it or activate a different effect on it.
Kind of already have. So if you search counter,
there will be a lot of cards
in the LOR, in the Runeterra thing. I'm pretty sure I have 1. Okay, we have 2 cards. Okay, so Thresh already has counters. Basically, like TLDR, when any unit dies, he gets a counter on him. Or 2 if there's Helia on the board. And then during your battle phase, you can remove all the counters and summon a monster from the deck with the level less than or equal to the counters removed. Right, so like, if you summon Thresh, kill 2 things, or your own things die, he gets counters. Mm-hmm. So in LOR, he reaches 6 to level up. Here, there are no level ups. Risu's... so for like Risu, it was just...
I'm just missing it.
Well, I mean, you remove all the counters, so...
Okay.
You have to remove all of them. Even if you remove 10, you can summon like a 5-drop. You have to remove all of them. No, he sucks. Kind of. He's okay. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's a broken combo. Well, what does Risu do in LOR? I don't even know what he does.
But
anyways, he summons a 7/3.
Yeah.
He's a 1/1.
I used Risu's like thematic and like lore to make this. Where the longer he's on the board, because basically you can play him as a face-up spell. The longer he's on the board, every turn, he gets a counter on him. And then at any time, you can just remove all the counters to summon his token, which is the Stormcloud. And the Stormcloud Stormcloud's attack is
Reversing summon.
equal to the number of counters, like times 400. So the longer you wait on Risu, the bigger the token is. But
Oh, that's really cool.
but you can't risk it. Like you can put 10 counters and then it can get popped by your opponent. So you kind of need to be smart with that.
Yeah.
It's every turn or every time you take damage, which is, again, if you read his flavor text from LOR, you can see like how he was like taking the time to like construct Stormcloud.
Nice.
And there was like clutch when he summed it. So I kind of tried to like convey the same thing.
It's so cool.
That's really cool. I like the flavor there.
Yeah. Like I don't think there's a single card that I'm really not happy about. Like most cards, I'm happy with the flavor. Most cards, I think. Maybe Scrap Dash Assembly needs to get reworked.
If it sucks in this game, then its flavor is perfect.
I think Scrap Dash is fine though. Like it's cool. It's a trap card. So it's a redesign into a trap card instead of a unit. So basically, it's a continuous trap card, and every turn you can banish something to make a token. Which is fine. I don't think it's that bad though. Like you need it for going wide. Like use it in the opponent's end phase and then use it again in your turn. That's 2 tokens for free. So your
and you
crowd's
summon,
favorite
crowd
comes
favorite.
down. Your vision becomes better. Your battlecaster becomes better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and back to Bilgewater maybe for our end. My wish for Bilgewater is also the randomness. Like I showed this card earlier, but I own 3 copies of this card on paper for some reason. This Skull dice.
The OG.
Like, it's just so terrible. You roll a dice and then it loses attack and defense, which is just like so garbage. I also have this one, which is gains attack and defense, which is a little bit better, but and I put those into every deck. I even like in the World Champion deck where I played Lights when I played this card as a 2-of. Everybody laughed at me and watched a good dice roll card. So I wish maybe Twisted Fate.
Oh, TF is going to be like something totally different. Because again, I can't make level ups. So the effect either has to be in compensating the level 2 or the transition between level 1 and level 2. Like Thresh, for example, like he levels up and then levels down, I guess. Because you need to restack him. Draven doesn't have a level 2 because it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Lee Sin is just his level 2 Lee Sin.
Nice.
Broken.
Lee just kicks anyway, even like there's no level up. There's no condition for that. He just kicks. But his attack scales with the number of the dragon monsters you've played this game.
Okay.
So the more parts of the dragon that you've already used, either on field or in the graveyard, he becomes stronger.
Kind of cool.
Yep. So if you have all 5 parts, he just kills your opponent in one shot.
Yeah, obliterate.
Basically.
It's like a different name. Different name reminds me of something. Like, I guess Destiny Bot is like also similar.
Yeah, so you can't just like stack like 3 Eye of the Dragons for him. You can only have 1 eye, 1 claw, 1 horn, 1 tail, and 1 thingy.
Okay, that's really cool. So you want to get back into it, design more archetypes, that's really cool. Maybe there are more tournaments, so look out for that for sure. Anything else you want to add in the end?
I mean, I'm glad people like it. Those who played it. I don't think anyone has really disliked it. Most people thought it was fun. Because again, like, you go through the effort of redesigning cards, and then redesigning the playstyle, and making it fit into the thing, and then you code the thing, and then you fix the artwork. I want you to look at Rummage. Just look up Rummage, okay? Look at the art. If you look at the LOR art, you'll notice that this one is more complete. So some artwork, I had to like finish the drawing for it. Like here, like the extra bullet on the bottom. Yeah, if you look at the LOR one, you'll have like a lot of cutoffs. But here I had to like recolor like the borders and like draw an extra bullet there.
Nice.
I think Crumble has a really, like if you look at Crumble, it has like a really weird line. Yeah. So if you look at the shade, not here, the other one on the other side. No. Yeah. So yeah, you can see it's not a straight line. Like right under the teeth. Yeah, here. You see this? I had to continue drawing it here. Yeah. So I had to finish the drawing. Yeah. So you go through all the effort of fixing the art, actually coding, bug fixing everything. But like the most important thing is that people are having fun. Like I can redesign all the cards 1-to-1, put them in the client, but like sometimes it just won't be fun. So as long as you can feel like you're popping off, just like Roji did, like as long as you can feel like you're popping off, you're doing some crazy shit, and it's still balanced, then that's cool,
Yeah.
you know? Like that's the intended goal.
Nice.
Summoning 5 units in one turn is my favorite thing to do in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Yes, you really summon more than 5 things at a time.
I mean, you should learn Yordles then. Because the Yordle mechanic is all about swarm and outvaluing your opponent. So even if they kill your entire board, you can just resummon it back. Because they're all
That sounds fun.
pendulums.
Pendulum.
Yep.
I used to play Six Samurai in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Ooh. Okay. Used to like go ham because like they keep summoning each other.
Yeah,
As long as you have
they
one.
just summon and summon and summon.
And they
It
protect each
just
other.
doesn't stop. I think Gateway of the Six is why I like Landmarks so much. Because like you get counters on this one
Yeah.
spell, and then you can use the counters and you summon stuff. Like you get an effect from the spell, like continuously. It's pretty cool.
That's cool. I think you'll like the Yordles then. You just have to
I'll have
learn
to
the
read
mechanic.
them.
Yeah, they have an essay each. But yeah, they're kind of cool.
By the way, have you ever tried like publishing it to like the Yu-Gi-Oh communities or something? Because like currently it targets a very specific niche. Like you have to play LOR and you also have to know the rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! And LOR is already pretty small, and then you also have to find people who play Yu-Gi-Oh!
That is true, but I thought that the audience is LOR players that play a bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! Rather than Yu-Gi-Oh! Players that play some LOR. Because if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, you would not want to play like custom cards, if that makes sense.
Really? Why not?
Does that make sense? Why not? I don't know. It's just Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. Because like it's like a physical card game, right? Like people who play online are just here to like test decks that they want to buy IRL or practice for something specific. So I wouldn't imagine that they would play much. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought like capturing LOR players would be cooler.
There's just way less LOR players and Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. But yeah, interesting. But I would love like an LOR simulator where just can like play custom cards online. That would be so cool. I think there is one.
I thought about making one.
Oh my god.
Some rules are so inconsistent.
Wait,
so
what rules are inconsistent? No. We have to talk about that again later. Anyways, spoilers. But yeah. So yeah, to wrap it up, really, really awesome project. One of the best ones I've seen so far, custom projects. And I want to give it a shout out and just check it out, join the server and join the next tournament. It's really, really cool, really, really fun. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not that hard to get into if you never did it. You can definitely figure it out if the meta bores you or something. Give it a look.
I guess I should have mentioned it earlier, like right at the start. But basically, this format is like really slow, and stats matter a lot. Because I mean, in LOR, stats matter a lot. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Usually they don't. Because of the sport, this format is actually really slow. It's not like modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you just like play out the entire deck in one turn and like set up an unbreakable board. So yeah, if you dislike current Yu-Gi-Oh! This is different. Just pointing it
It
out.
is like current LOR, it's also different. I don't know what's this like about LOR right now, and maybe some people do.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you so much for joining. Also, Roji, thank you so much for joining. It's an honor having you here. And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, check out our Discord and the link, and our Roji, do you have YouTube as well or just Twitch?
Yeah, I have a YouTube. I don't post too often to it, but I do have one. It's just GrandpaRoji.
Also find a link down there. And yeah, thank you for watching, and see you in the next podcast. Goodbye.